See, it was so scary for me when I finally put my foot down and I said I was going to leave my relationship. I was so scared because that was my entire identity. My entire identity was based around this little fragile itty bitty female who had no money, who was stapled to this individual who was mean and who hurt her. And she always had hurt feelings and she cried a lot. And she suffered with bulimia because she needed to control one part of her life. That was her one area she could control. And this is what my whole life, my whole identity was wrapped around for over a decade. You call me up, this was what I talked about. You sent me a text message, this is what I talked about. Email, this is what I talked, this is my conversation revolved around this poor individual who was stuck, who had no way out. And it was super scary, super, super scary, but I had to take a risk. When you want to jump, when you decide that you want to jump from one identity to another identity, it is going to scare you. It's going to scare you. You're going to be afraid. You're going to be fearful. You're not going to want to do it. You're going to take a step forward and then take a step back and then take a step forward and then take a step back and then take a forward. And you're going to keep doing that over and over and over again. But this is what I'm going to challenge you. Once you get used to taking a step forward and then a step back, try taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And if you continue to do that same method, you will eventually end up 5, 10, 15, 20 steps ahead because of that one little itty bitty extra step. Does that make sense? It's all about taking risks within your own circle, within your own comfort zone. See, so many of us are comfortable, and I will totally admit to that. In and amongst the emotional abuse, the mental abuse, the sexual abuse, the financial abuse, it sounds crazy, but I was comfortable. And I even used to tell myself that. Why won't you leave? Well, I don't know. I'm just comfortable. I know what to expect. I know he's going to say this. I know he's going to do this. And I was so scared to walk out into the world and not know what to expect. I knew where my bed was. I knew where the pillow was. I knew where the couch was. I knew what had to be done, what had to be cleaned, how I had to act, how I needed to say, how I needed to sit, how I needed to talk, how I needed to dress. And it scared me to death to leave that situation and walk into another situation and not know how to do those things. But see, this is what happens. Once you start taking risks to leave the situation behind, whether it's your job, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your health, whether it's the way you speak or smoke or drink, once you can leave the stuff behind that actually is not at your core, that actually doesn't describe you, that actually isn't you deep down, then you can actually figure out who you are. See, that's the awesome thing about it, is once you drop all the extra and you start figuring it out for yourself, then you do it the way you want to do it. How do you want to dress? How do you want to talk? How do you want to act? Speak, eat. What's actually true to you to reach your next level human? See, you are powerful, and you're way more powerful than you think you are. That's what's so tricky about it. A lot of times people don't want to know how powerful they are. It scares them. They're nervous. Wait, what? What? No. Because they like playing the victim. They don't like to actually be in control. Because when they're in control, that means if they crash, it's all their fault. And people don't want it to be all their fault. They want to be able to blame somebody else. But if you keep living your life where you don't take the wheel and you don't take control, you are seriously letting somebody else drive the car for you. It's all in their hands. And then whether or not you crash or burn has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Why in the world would you put your entire being in the hands of someone else or something else? Insanity. Insanity. There is absolutely no one more qualified to run your life than you. There's nobody else. Which means you have to start taking the blame, the responsibility for everything that did happen and for everything that's going to happen. And once you do that, once you take responsibility for getting pregnant out of wedlock, that's on me. Not having enough money, that's on me. Do you see that? Once I can take that, if you're divorced, take responsibility for that. If you're unhealthy, if you're overweight, take responsibility for that. Because if you take responsibility for it, as if it's totally yours, totally your fault, 100%, that means you can fix it. You can fix it. If you decide to take 100% responsibility for it.